Hey, and welcome everyone to Season 5 of the Ruin Hammer live show, where we talk all things our One New Zealand Warriors. Thank you all for joining us again. Tonight, we're going to take a look at the Warriors 2024 season draw. We're going to discuss our thoughts on it, some key matchups throughout the seasons. We're going to discuss our off-season purchases, look at the first trial of the year, played last week against the Tigers, and we're going to catch up with Richie Morgan from Warrior Nation. So that'll be a good chat. Joining me tonight, as usual, is my good mate and co-host, Warrior Roo, Rob. How are you, mate? Good to see you. How's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good start to the week. Thanks, mate. Good to see you as well. G'day to everyone who's watching as well through YouTube and Facebook. Great to have you along. Wasn't it an awesome chat with Cam last week? Always great to hear from the man himself, the boss, and he's always so giving of his time, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, evening, Brad, Mikey, who's in the chat there as well. Yeah, this week has been awesome because something arrived in the mail, which I'm wearing at the moment, and I'm also like Dynasty, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later. Absolutely kicking goals with the merchandise this year, so it's going to be a very expensive year for me. But
yeah,
as most years end up being, everyone knows what I'm like, especially the guys that buy all the gear off me afterwards. But yeah, no, otherwise week's been good, mate, and yeah, good to watch a bit of footy on the weekend as well. You can smell it. Summer's almost over. Footy's in the air. Yeah. So how have you been, mate? How's your week going so far?
Yeah, my week's been a little bit indifferent, mate. Started off good Thursday last week, and then crushed my thumb at work in the back of a garbage truck. Ooh. So, yep, I've been off work for the past since Friday. Had some minor surgery to repair some damage on Friday. Go back to the hand specialist this Friday, and hopefully I can get a clearance to go back to work in some capacity on Monday next week, even if it's just sitting in a truck and learning a run or something. But yeah, a little bit indifferent. So yeah, it's I didn't realise how boring life could be when you're stuck at home and you can't do anything. So
I must say those pics were gruesome that you sent me through as well, with you missing a whole thumbnail and yeah.
Yeah, still in a lot of pain, mate. But
yeah,
but I'm all right. And yeah, as you said, mate, how good was it last week to start off our season with Cameron George? If you did miss last week's show, you can catch the episode here on either YouTube or Facebook, whichever you're watching on, or on our Spotify channel. But yeah, Cam's always a great chat to have, isn't he?
Yeah, brilliant. As I said before, there's not too many CEOs of clubs that give up their time to talk to the fans, and yeah, it's like we get as much of a buzz out of it as you guys do, like hearing straight from the top, straight out of the horse's mouth, and yeah, there was some good stuff in there. I particularly liked him telling Melbourne to get stuffed for the Anzac Day game. That was my favourite bit.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Melbourne don't own Anzac Day. Brilliant.
We've had some conversations in the past with him about that kind of stuff, just like away from the camera, that is, where we've asked him some questions about Anzac Day, and he's always been a bit frustrated that it's never been able to be played in New Zealand. So it's great that we get that game at home now. And awesome, whoever the opponent is, great. Good to see that our fans at home can finally get that game.
Yeah, it's been almost 10 years, so yeah, that'll be a big one on the calendar. All right, so before we get started on tonight's show, I do invite you guys, if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel and also on the Facebook page to show your support of the streaming content that we create. I would also like to acknowledge and thank our wonderful supporters and subscribers on all our social media platforms, and in particular, you awesome people on Patreon, the subscribers. Your generous donations and your support helps us to upgrade our visual presentation through StreamYard, which you're watching us on now, and to bring you guys the content that you all enjoy so much. So I guess we get into the discussion then. There's plenty to talk about.
Yeah, before we do, mate, just a reminder to everyone that has tuned in tonight, the reason we do this show live is to get your involvement. So please, as we move through the discussion points, join the conversation, leave your comments. We'll try and bring you guys in as best we can. But please be aware that we do have current and ex-players and their families that watch the webcast. So please keep your comments respectful and refrain from making them personal. But yeah, mate, as you said, let's get into it. The Warriors season draw. We were going to do this at the end of last year, but we kind of thought that it'd be better to do it a little bit closer to season kickoff this year. The Warriors draw we got 11 home games at Go Media Stadium. There's one at Christchurch, and of course the other home game that we get is the one that we take to Magic Round, which means there's 12 away games, and we got buys in rounds 13, 19, and 27. Mate, when you saw the draw, what did you think of the draw? It's kind of hard to say what it's going to be like based on the fact that we can only go off last year's performance of teams. So when we do look at the draw, you look at like our first 5 games. I think we've got Cronulla at home. We play Melbourne in Melbourne. I think we got Canberra.
I'm just trying to bring
up the draw now.
Yeah. So I think the big thing with last year and this year is that both very tough starts to the season.
Yeah.
But again, as you touched on, we're basing it all on the previous year. So obviously last year we had a very strong start to the year. Starting off with the Sharks, Storm, Raiders in Christchurch. So, I mean, even though that's technically a home game for us, we traditionally do not play well, as we all know, in venues outside of Auckland in New Zealand. So, unfortunately, again, on the weekend, another loss. But, Christchurch hasn't been the most happy of hunting grounds. And then we come up against the Knights at home and then the Rabbitohs. It's a tough opening 6 games. But, it's really... It's really hard to say because we don't know how anyone's traveling yet. And, we just have to do what we did last year and put ourselves in the best position possible and win as many of those games as we can. I think one of the biggest games is round 2 in Melbourne against Melbourne. I think that will give us the best indication of how we're traveling. That's one of the toughest, if not the toughest places to go to play footy. It's just good. We don't have to do it on Anzac Day again. But round 2 it'll be a really good test after what will be a tough first game as well against the Sharks. Yeah, well, it's as you said, mate. Melbourne is a team that we haven't beaten since 2015. I think was the last time we beat the Storm. And then you throw into the mix the Rabbitohs, who we haven't beaten. We've beaten them once in about a decade. Yeah,
that was 2018, wasn't it? Round
2018. 1? Yeah, we have an absolutely terrible record against the Rabbitohs.
Again, similar to last year, we go 12 rounds before we get the bye. It's not going to be the same where last year we had that period of 3 games in 11 days. We don't go through that again, and that was crucial last year because there were 3 really big games that I think it was Melbourne, the Roosters, and Penrith that we lost to. We do the same again this year. We play the Roosters the week before we play Penrith at Magic Round. And then we have the the Dolphins leading into the bye the week after that. So that first 12 rounds is going to be a tough schedule. I remember last year, we started off so well in the season. I think we had 4 from the first 5 games. We had victories, and then we ran into a little bit of a problem there with those 3 games, and it kind of, we noticed some fatigue in the players. We did get some injuries in those opening 12 rounds as well. So we go through that again this year, and I think having done it last year, I think Webby will have the boys better prepared this season for that run. And that's the other thing too, is, last year we came into the season with a new coach. It was new systems being learnt in a new preseason, whereas it's not a full reset this year when we go into preseason. We kind of can pick up where we left off at the end of last season, and we can build on what we've done. And we saw a bit of that in the trial, which we'll get to a little bit later on the
continuity.
weekend.
It feels like there's a cohesion, and this season, like you mentioned, is kind of going to follow on from last year. There's not too much turnover in playing stocks and some key additions. So you feel a little bit more confident. Obviously that things are going to kind of be business as usual. Well, hopefully.
Yep. And then talking about the games, we got those 12 games leading into the first bye. Then we have a block of 5 games till the second bye, and then we have 7 games, and we finish the season with a bye. Our last game of the season is a bye, so we kind of have to set up our season in those 26 weeks, because that as the Clough stuff has put into the comments, that bye could be really beneficial to us heading into the final series, and let's hope that, with everything going the way that I think it will go, we will be up in and around that top 4 position again, and ready for hopefully a home semi-final, finishing in the top 2. Teams we only play once this year, mate: Roosters, Cowboys, Panthers, Eels, Broncos, Tigers, Rabbits, and I think Dragons. Or do we play the Dragons twice? I think we might play the Dragons twice. I hope we play the Dragons twice.
Or maybe we don't hope that. Who knows how it's going to go? But no, Dragons only once, round 7.
Okay. That's right. Yeah. And start the season with the Sharks, and effectively finish the season with the Sharks. And that's going to be a real test, because I like the Sharks. The Sharks are kind of very similar to us, with not a lot of change to their roster coming into this season. I think Braden Trindle's going to be good foil for Nico Hines. I think this round 1 game is going to be a very, very special game of footy. And the fact that we're at home, I think, will get us home. But the Sharks are going to be a very good opponent for us in that round 1. I was kind of hoping we got something a little bit easier, like the Tigers or the Dragons, but not to be.
You want the Doreen Cup straight up, do you?
I do. Well, it's a shame we've got to wait till round 21 for the Doreen Cup.
It's similar to last year. We had to wait a long time, and that was for that game at Waikato. One thing I will just quickly touch on about the draw is, like, last year, I feel we had a really soft run into the finals, and we were sort of looking at the season going, okay, there's all these winnable games at the end of the year, and we should be right. And we kind of, it was actually after we played the Sharks last year, we had a really good win over them in Auckland. Then after that, we just seemed to be a little bit flat for the rest of the season. We had all these easy games, but we were sort of just doing enough to win. We weren't really sort of putting them away. This year, again, as we've said before, we don't know how everyone's traveling, or is going to be traveling, so it's hard to say. But as you said, we finished with the Sharks, but then we also play Manly, Bulldogs, who you expect to be much better this year, Dolphins, Eels, and then
Do I expect them to be much better?
Well, if they're not better, then I don't know what's wrong with that joint. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they're going to end up like the Tigers, an absolute basket case. I don't know how you can bring in that much personnel. Although they're all, like, as we know, bits and pieces players, utilities.
Yep.
So how do all these pegs sort of fit in?
Yeah, that's true.
Not our problem.
No, I mean that run home that you're talking about after that round 19 bye, we have the Raiders, who I don't expect to be very competitive this year, in saying I think they'll be down and around the bottom 4. And the reason I say that is because I don't like their spine. They've got they're going to either have Xavier Savage or that young kid from Manly, KO Weeks, or they're talking about Chevy Stewart, who could be playing fullback. Ethan Strange, who's a centre, has been trialling in the halves. They've got Fogarty. They've lost Whiten.
Fogarty goes down there, and they're in all sorts.
And then you got Danny Levi, who's their first choice hooker. So I'm not a big fan of what the Raiders are throwing out. You got the Tigers, the Eels, and let's face it, the Eels could be anything.
That's right. They're an absolute lottery.
The Dolphins.
I expect them to be decent. I expect the Dolphins to be much better.
I still think the Dolphins. Still think the Dolphins' biggest problem is going to be their depth. They have bought well, but you know who they have bought. They bought 2 centres in Herbie Farmworth and Jake Averillo, and then they've got Tom Flegler in the front row. But I'm still out on the Dolphins. I still don't think they're their top 8 material. Manly, again, they have an issue with Tommy Trebojevic or Daly Cherry Evans or both, and they're kind of gone. The Bulldogs, as you said, they've kind of bought makeshift players. Yeah, a lot of utility players. Crichton's obviously a good buy for them, but that's going to be an interesting one. And then, as you said, the Sharks to finish off the season, which is, again, it's a good way to bookend the season.
Ricky, had just Ricky Gina, shout out to you, mate, has just asked what does the origin period look like for us? So I've just had a look. So we have that by 3rd of June, round 13. So then we play the Cowboys, Storm, Titans, Broncos, and Bulldogs, and then we have our next bye, on the 15th of July. So like we want to be playing most of those games, don't we? But it didn't help us last year when we had that game in Napier where we played like the baby Broncos and got rolled. So if only for a jersey pull from Adam Pompey. But anyway, regardless.
That's right.
Yeah, so
that's right. Yes.
Wouldn't it be nice to play? Wouldn't it be nice to play Melbourne without all their Origin players? It
would be. It would be. We touched on it at the beginning of the show talking about Cam George. Anzac game this year. We're going to play the Titans at home. And then when we did ask Cam whether that's going to be something of a regular occurrence now, whether it becomes a back and forth, he's adamant that they want that to be a home game. We don't care who we play so long as we get a home game on Anzac Day at Go Media Stadium. So interesting to see if that continues on to be the Titans, or whether they just give us whoever. And again, as he said, it's ridiculous. They talk about the Anzac spirit in Australia and New Zealand and all the rest of it, and they haven't had anything in New Zealand on Anzac Day since when did we last play there, mate?
2015 against the Titans.
2015. Yeah. So that's a good one for the fans to get behind, and then obviously all the fans here in Australia and those that like to travel internationally. Magic round against the Panthers. This year it's on a Sunday. We're the first game on a Sunday. We don't get an easy draw at Magic round, do we?
Nah, we never have. Apart from the first game we played the Dragons and beat them, but since then we haven't had a win there. I think we had the Eels, Rabbitohs, and then Penrith twice. So it's almost like we'll let you play Magic round, but you got to have the dud game.
Yep. Mark Roberts says we need a grandparents' goblet for the game against the Dragons in round 7 to honour Nathan Fiend. Mate, I reckon we'll just put a PowerPoint presentation up on the hill at Wynn Stadium, and we'll have Matty Elliott come and it'll be the Matty Elliott PowerPoint presentation shield or something.
And he'll bamboozle everyone with his speech. Everyone will just walk out going, "What the hell was all that about?"
Absolutely.
That was Nathan Friendy when we had him on. He was talking about that. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Mate, my expectations are, and I don't want to push my expectations onto you, but I would be happy. Like, I'd be happy if we win every game all season, but I'd be happy if we get 8 wins from those first 12 games, have the bye, get 3 wins from the next 5, and then I expect 6 from that last 7, which I think, and then the bye. I think that'll put us on 40 points, which I think will get us up and around that top 4 spot.
Top 4.
That I've been eyeing off. That's kind of what my expectation is this year. And I'm sorry to put a bit of expectation on the club, but after what we did last year, I think we can improve, and I think Webby will have us improving. And again, what we saw from some of those young guys that are going to come up and fill positions during the year, whether it be through suspension or injury, we saw that, Webby's still got everyone buying in on and, everyone's got a role to play. And, we'll get to that trial in a minute, but that's what my expectations are. Are you kind of along the same path? Are you thinking somewhere around the same?
It has to be. We can't afford to regress. We have to absolutely have to build on 23. We don't end up like the Cowboys from last year. Don't want to be a flash in the pan, but that I think that has to be the benchmark. Top 8 at absolute minimum. But got to be in that top 4. So as you said, I'm thinking along similar lines, but it's way too early to say. And we'll get a bit of a better idea by about round 10. I think where everyone's traveling, so we can kind of readjust those expectations, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Roster changes, mate. We had 3 significant gains and probably you'd say 3 losses. RTS back home at the Warriors after a brief stint in rugby. Chanel Harris-Tavita's come home after a year off travelling the world and realising what he was missing out on, and then the signing of Kirk Capewell, which kind of came out of nowhere. The players we've lost are Billy Valleja, who has gone off to the Cowboys. Josh Curran, who has gone off to the Bulldogs, and then Ronnie Volkman as well. So, mate,
Sorry, mate. I'm copping a bit of flack about my hair in the comments.
Yeah?
So I just put a hat on. There we go.
Where? Who's giving you shit about your hair?
No, not in the comments. Sure, a few people sending me messages. So I'm like,
okay.
That's all right. I'll put a hat on for you guys.
Good. Your thoughts on the gains and losses, mate?
Yeah, I mean, AFB. Yeah, it's a gap that we just can't fill. I guess after today's news, which I think we're going to touch on soon, we'll touch on it now. Touch on it now, yeah. So it's been announced that Braden Hamlin-Uele has re-signed with the Sharks for another 2 years, which effectively puts end to speculation that he was going to join us on what I considered to be a very rich deal. He's for mine, he's not a starting front rower. He's sort of low minutes. The funny thing about him is he always used to look $1 million against us. That's why I always used to go, oh, geez, it'd be good to have this guy one day. But then I sort of started realizing he used to carve us up, but that wasn't that impressive. It's some of the sides we rolled out. Yeah,
it's that Kiwi thing. All those guys that play their good in front of their families when they come back to New Zealand to play against us and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like that spot can be filled from within. We got some promising young forwards. We saw some of them playing on Sunday. So it'd be good to, instead of, as you and I were discussing earlier, instead of panic buying and just going out and throwing money at someone else to get them over here, and who knows, they'll probably end up going home and with the homesick card themselves in a year or two. Why not sort of promote from within? And we have a good opportunity this year for them to sort of still play under AFB and to get a little bit of game time throughout the season.
Unless we can get Joe Tarpany to come home, or Payne Haas to leave the Broncos, or even Moses Leota or James Fisher-Harris, you're not going to get a like-for-like replacement for AFB. The minutes he plays, the stats that he throws out. So I would much rather the club not do a panic buy like we did in 2019. After Sean Johnson walked out, we'd lost Mason Linard to Newcastle. We really had no halves, and 6 games into the season, we've panic bought Cody Nikorima to fill that void that he never really did.
That's it. Yeah,
I don't think the club's at that point anymore. I think we've got faith in what Webby's doing with these young kids. I think we can see from how the reserve grade went last year. They finished a game shy of the grand final. A lot of these guys we saw in the trial on the weekend played in that. You saw some. I think we've got some good front rowers coming through, and I'm happy for the club to have a little bit of patience because we've got AFB for the season.
Yes,
and it's a long season. It's 27 weeks of rugby league, and things happen at clubs all the time. And there could be a chance where, a player does get disgruntled, a decent player does get disgruntled at another club and is looking for an opportunity somewhere else. And
always comes up.
Yeah.
Always comes up.
That could be someone that we throw money at. Great to see, as Cam spoke about last week, great to see AFB is committed to the cause for this season. And I'm looking forward to seeing him in his first run this weekend. Mate, probably the biggest positional conundrum that Coach Webby has is who partners Sean Johnson in the halves this year. We've got Metcalf, we've got Chanel Harris-Tavita now back now. We've got Tamari Martin. And I guess from what we saw in the trials, Metcalf and CHT very disappointing with their kicking games last weekend. Which means that a lot of that pressure is going to fall back on Sean. Who would be your first choice partner in the halves with Johnson? We see Metcalf's got the run this week. He's starting to get alongside Sean this week. Who would you have?
Personally, I'd probably have Tamare Martin. Metcalf, I was watching him a bit. Like he's obviously got the X factor, the speed, and that kind of thing. But I feel like he's maybe lacking in a couple of other key areas in terms like in halves play. Like his kicking game wasn't great. He seems to be a run first kind of player, which can be good, a good foil for Johnson. Chanel looked okay. He made some space out wide a couple of times. Again, his kicking game wasn't quite on point, but we know he can have a good kicking game. He's kicked a few 40-20s. I think we saw him do a few at Redcliffe back in 22. So he does have an okay kicking game, but I think Tamale Martin is the more experienced player, and I would be going with him to start with. And see how we go from there. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think the same. I think Tamati Martin's got a little bit more experience than the other two guys, and he's been around for a fair while. He knows how to play that 6 role and chime in when he needs to, and step back when Sean wants the ball. CHT for me is a strange one. Always been a fan of CHT. He's been spoken of as a number 14 for us this year, but surely Dylan Walker is our first choice 14. Which leaves 3 other spots on the bench, and for me, Jazz on the bench is a given because he can fill so many different roles. He can play in the middle, he can play on an edge, he can fill in at dummy half. As much as he hates, and he's said it many times before, how he hates playing at 9, he can do that role. And then the other one on the bench for me would be either Niokore or Ford, whoever doesn't get that edge spot. And I'm leaning towards Niokore being on the bench because I think Ford must start. He's got to start.
He's best served as a starter.
Yeah, and Kate will definitely have that other starting edge back rower spot. So Niokore then falls back to the bench. So that leaves one bench rotation position, and we don't want to go back to the days of Steve Kearney, where we used to have 3 hookers on the bench. So for me, that one spot on the bench goes to like a Tom Ale or a Zion Mayu, a Bunty Afoa, a Jacob Laban, Stowers Smith, somebody like that with a bit of size that can, maybe float between an edge and the middle. I think Chanel could be destined to be that 18th man on a regular basis this year. And similar to what Tuapiki was for us last year, Tuapiki kind of played that 18th man blue bib role for quite a few games in succession. I think that could be what Chanel plays for us this year.
I think he's actually a really good man to have in that position, though, as much as he probably wouldn't like it. I feel like he could be really versatile as a player. He's probably obviously half. He's got the skill set to be a center. We all know he's got the defensive capabilities to be a center. And I think he could be, always say, like a Scott Hill kind of ball playing 13 as well. He'd be a great guy. As bad a thing as that probably is to say, like, oh, you're a perfect 18th man. But we might have to race through the rest of this now because we've got the man himself on standby.
Okay, well, we'll get through this last little bit and we'll bring Richie in and he can talk about the Tigers trial with us. The last thing we want to kind of talk about is that centre competition. RTS is a lock on that left edge. He was outstanding in his return to rugby league on the weekend. Churned out 60 minutes. Didn't put a foot wrong. Our right centre options, Berry, Leatua and Pompey. Who's your choice to partner Roger in the centres?
I like the look of Leatua. He looks hard to handle. He is a big kid.
Yep.
He handled himself brilliantly in that game against Jared Croker when he made his debut last year. Unfortunately, he got that hamstring injury that kept him out of the side for so long. But oh, geez, he's going to be hard to leave out, I think, especially if he has another big game against the Dolphins this week. Although you would kind of think he may have to bide his time for now, and someone like Rocco Berry, I would say, would come into the centres with Rog. I mean, Rog looked dangerous every time he touched the ball. Looked like beating the man. He's going to be such an asset out there on the edge. So yeah, like you said, him and yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing Rocco Berry.
Yeah, I think Berry gets a start in round 1, and it's his position to lose. And Rocco's a good defensive centre as well.
Yeah.
But I think by the end of the year, it'll be an RTS Leatua centre pairing. Pompey, look, Pompey gets the nod over all those guys if Sean Johnson's not goal kicking. And I'm not saying Pompey's the best goal kicker we got. Mitch Barnett can goal kick. We've seen that in the past. Metcalf can goal kick. But Pompey had the kicking duties at the end of last season. And so if Sean's not going to kick, if there is a issue with an ankle or a thigh or a calf or whatever, maybe Pompey does get that spot. The other thing too is we don't know what's going on with DWZ at the moment. He pulled out of the All-Stars game last weekend. He's named to play this week. I'm not expecting him to play this week in the trial. Apparently he's got some sort of calf or leg injury. So maybe he doesn't play round 1 and Pompey ends up on the wing. Not too sure. It's going to be interesting to see when teams get named next week for round 1.
Yeah, we'll be waiting with eagerly waiting that one.
We will. Why don't you bring our special guest in, mate?
Absolutely.
And for those that don't know who this man is, we're very fortunate to be joined by the man, the face behind Warrior Nation, Richie Morgan. Richie, good to see you, brother. How are you, mate?
Bloody awesome, boys. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here again. I must admit, after watching that amazing show last week with Cameron George, and I know that obviously Andrew Reeves wasn't available, or Cappy wasn't available, or Roger wasn't available, so like I filled in tonight. So, but I appreciate it anyway.
No, our guests get better and better every week. We started off with Cam. We get you this week, mate. We're just building.
Can I say you're really well dressed?
You like that?
Yeah.
I like what you're wearing, Rob.
Yeah, it's good.
I feel left out, boys. I got my jersey on the second drop, so it won't arrive until April. So
someone's got to wait till April. So
yeah. I'm just wearing the Roger shirt for tonight. Listen, Rich, can we start off by saying there was a post that you put out a couple of weeks ago, intimating that you may step down from your role in Warrior Nation. Can you tell us, is that happening? And what's going to happen moving forward?
Thanks for bringing that up. You know, when you put things out on Facebook sometimes, and sometimes you regret what you say. Sometimes you don't. Look, I don't regret saying that because it's how I felt at the time.
Yep.
Yeah, I wanted to slow down a little bit. You know, I had things going on in my personal life that I wanted to try and focus on first and put that to the forefront. But, I mean, I can't ever stop being a Warrior supporter, and it's in part of my DNA, right? So I've had a good couple of conversations with some awesome people like yourselves and some other people behind the scenes, and I'm just going to slow down and pull back a little bit. I just want to be a fan. I think last year was quite intense, where I look back on the season, and yes, I was trying to organise get-togethers and bring people together. And at times I look back and I can't really remember the game as much. I have to watch it on replay. And That's what I love about rugby league. That's what brought me to loving the game, is standing on the sideline and watching the game and really immersing myself in that. So that was, I suppose, in a nutshell, the reason why you saw that post. But yeah, 100% we're moving forward. We're still going to be doing meetups, and you know, there's a lot more people now. There's a lot more fans jumped on the bus, and there's a lot more meetups. So I think the challenge moving forward is not necessarily about getting people together. It's about making sure that we can communicate together with all of the different groups to ensure that we are all together, and we don't have lots of different meetups. That's probably where I'm going to be focusing on 24.
Mate, it wouldn't be the same without you, that's for sure. You've been doing this now since 2011, was it?
Yeah. That's when I moved back from New Zealand, moved back to Australia, and having that membership at Mount Smart, Bay 27 in the East Stand. I was there, and I came back to the first game of the season in 2011, and I was like, oh my God, this is shit. There's no atmosphere. Look at all the fans we've got. We're all spread out around the ground. That was the one. That's what made me. I just felt right. I felt like, right, this is it. I've got to go and get everyone. I've got to put them together. So yeah, it's been a while, mate. Probably put on about 20 kilos. Hair's definitely got grayer in those 40 years. But, but the love for the Warriors is definitely not going to stop.
Absolutely, and I mean, go on, mate.
I was just going to say, as we always say, without you, there would be no Ruin Hammer, because we would never have met. So we all met through being involved in Warrior Nation. So it's pretty cool, eh? It's pretty cool that we can look back. What season are you guys in?
5. Season 5.
I mean, like, it just feels like yesterday.
I know.
It's just when we're having those WhatsApp chats with a few of us, behind the scenes, but I remember meeting you both at games, the grand final day, Mark, and watching the under-20s play, and Rob up at Brisbane, and also at Gold Coast. I seem to always buy tickets, and you're sitting right next to me.
That's it.
And that's what I love about rugby league, and about just the people that you meet, and the friendships along the way, and that's what has continued to drive me. It's the people. It's the Warriors and the footy is a byproduct of it all. It's the togetherness and the mateship, man, and the bringing the families together. That's what drives me the most, and that's what I love the most.
And we're quite unique as a club too, because we've got that massive supporter base back home in New Zealand, the home fans, and then because of you, Rich, we've got this massive away supporter base here in Australia. We've got people in Queensland, we've got people in Melbourne, we've got people in New South Wales, and last year was just ridiculous. We spoke about it with Cam last week, and some of those games here in Australia last year, where our Warriors fan base here in Australia were louder than the home fans of where we're playing. Parramatta was one, Gold Coast was another.
Gold Coast, it was unreal.
So good, man. My wife's a Parramatta fan, so I go to quite a few Parramatta games. So I know that stadium, and I know the acoustics of it. So I was just counting down the days that we could get a good game on the back of a winning Warriors side at that stadium, and I just knew it was going to go off. And at the pre-game meetup at the pub, man, it was like 150 people there. I was like, oh my goodness, this is gonna go off tonight. So it was just amazing hearing that Warriors echo chant. I never forget it, man. And just having all the commentators talk about it, the media, pretty cool.
Absolutely, mate. Did you catch the trial on the weekend?
Oh man, sure did. What a game, far out. You guys touched on it. Everyone's touched on it. What an occasion for some of those young guys, and being down a player for 60 minutes, and mate, just what an amazing effort overall. But seeing Roger Tuivasa-Sheck just like slot straight back in, like no, I don't know, look maybe a little bit better. I don't know if it was that jersey, he looked a little bit sexier, but
the baby blue,
man, it was just unbelievable. And Chanel Harris-Savita, I'm a massive fan of his. Watching him come out and just again look like he didn't miss a beat. But seeing those young guys, I was been to heaps of, being a supporter going to all the New South Wales Cup games. I was watching the New South Wales Cup team play again at Seaford Oval in Queanbeyan or something like that. But it's amazing when I was watching that game, watching those players like Laban and Ali Lawatawa and Ben Farr and Tuopiki and all those players come through. I was just thinking about what Andrew Webster has done. Like, yes, we all saw it in first grade, right? We saw it in the NRL side, how amazing he brought that team together and got the best out of all those, either journeymen or get the best out of Stacey Jones again. But I was watching that game, and all I could think of, geez, Webster's done this to the reserve grade as well, to the New South Wales Cup side. He had his hands on that too, because they instantly walked in, and with a full preseason under their belt, they just looked like first graders. I was absolutely blown away, and the selection headaches, I was just like, oh my goodness, who is going to be in this side? It could be anybody. And you guys touched on earlier about Ali playing centres or Rocco Berry or Pompey. Roger's got that other side locked on. I'm a massive fan of Ali as well, watching him play reserve grade. And last year, he got his chance last year, but then he got that injury against Canberra.
Yeah,
correct.
And you could also say this year it's going to be a matter of, there's going to be injuries, so who's going to be able to slot in and take that opportunity when that injury comes? We all know it will. But I could say that to Rocco Berry last year. Maybe Rocco was an injury because he was in that spot because Ali got injured.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, who knows what? I think Ali Lawatawa is an absolute superstar center in the making. I love how he's got that palm. He's got that strength to hold players off. I very much sort of like a Crichton. Crichton loves to hold that player just off him and palm him off.
Yep.
But he is, I'm really, really excited, mate. That game, even though we lost, it wasn't about that. It's always been about development, about just learning the role and putting the pieces together.
Yeah, I mean, an 18-16 loss, 3 tries each scored by both teams. I looked at the game stats after the game, and they were all pretty even, pretty similar possession stats, similar attacking stats. Obviously, the big difference was the fact that we played 60 minutes a man down when Zion Mayu got sent off. Rob, what did you make of the send-off? Are we fans of send-offs in trial games?
Funny thing is, I was just sort of thinking, like, if there's ever a good time to have a send-off, it's probably in a trial game, where they get to test themselves and play 60 minutes a man down in a game where essentially it doesn't matter. The result doesn't matter at all. So, and I think the fact that we were in it right up until the end and could have actually won it right at the death was like says so much about that, more than the Tigers 2-point win.
Yep.
But yeah, in terms of a send off, like if they're being consistent with what we've seen recently, like it was the shoulder to head is, they're pretty harsh on that. And the poor fellow was knocked out. It was like the Fodawaka one against us.
Yeah.
When Chance got knocked out at the Gold Coast last year. So
Yep.
I was fully expecting that he would be sent for that. But yeah, I was actually looking forward to seeing him play and seeing what he's going to bring to the table. So yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to see that until what did he get? He got it downgraded to 2 weeks, I think they said today. So
he did.
And,
Does
and
the trial?
Apparently not.
Okay.
I
It doesn't
think
count.
I saw somewhere it doesn't count. So he'll be back, round 3 at the earliest. So
Can
we'll
he
have to
play
wait
this
until then.
week? Because Toff
Yep.
Sipley's been named to play for Manly, and he got
Yep.
sent off, and so he can play this week, but they haven't named him.
That's how silly it is. You get sent off in a trial, you get suspended for 2 weeks, but you can play a trial the next week. I don't agree with I agree with the send off. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a high shot, albeit I'm just going to say it was an absolute accidental. I mean, he got that play got pushed into him, but he did get knocked out. And the longer it took, that he was just going to get sent off. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
But
that's it.
put him off, put him through the tribunal, but bring on a reserve. Another player starts 13 on 13.
That's what I thought.
And then if you're going to get suspended for 2 weeks, but you can play the following week, that just goes to show they should have allowed another player on. A bit silly, silly. I'm sure they'll fix it up.
In saying that, how much confidence did we take out of that game, being a man down? The character that those young kids showed, particularly in that second half, when a lot of our the big name stars that were playing, were sitting on the bench. One guy that really impressed me was Jacob Laban. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. We've watched him play New South Wales Cup last year, and was a really good player. But the preseason has done him a world of good. He looks like a player that can break into first grade at some stage this year. Tom Arley, who kind of went into the wilderness. Tom Arley's game on the weekend reminded me of the trial that he played last year against the Tigers, when there was so much talk about how good he was. And then as the season went on last year, he kind of dwindled away and was never really got into that frame of being on the bench in first grade. But I thought he was outstanding on the weekend. What do you think of Tommy, Rich?
Exactly. He was outstanding. I think he's playing with a little bit of extra incentive. Emma, he knows Adam Fanua-Blake's not going to be there next year.
That's right.
I think he was absolutely outstanding. And, having that little bit of extra, he knows what's in next season. I mean, I saw today that Hamlin Ueli got signed by the Sharks this afternoon.
Good.
Good. We don't. Ali's probably going, I'll take that spot. Thanks, boys.
Yeah, 100%.
Look, you just don't know. Like, I think he was outstanding, and I can't wait to see him develop. But you're right, how he started the year strongly last year and sort of just here or there, just filled in. But this is his chance. This is his chance to really stand up and be an NRL, a regular NRL stay in the squad.
Sean Whiskey.
And I hope he gets there.
Sean Whiskey said in the chat, he reckons Lecker is going to be a real star too. That's Lecker Hallison. And I kind of had in my notes Leka Hallison, Tanner Stowers-Smith, who himself is only 18 or 19 years old. And the other guy that I thought that really stood up when the big names were off the field was Ben Farr. I thought Ben Farr was outstanding. Yeah, really good player. We watched a lot of him last year in reserve grade. Really good head on his shoulders. Plays really well in the halves there, doesn't he?
Such a good player, and he was probably one of my top 3 favourite players for the New South Wales Cup last year, because every week we watched him, boys. Every week is in a brand new position, right?
Yep.
And every week he never let that team down. Man, he is a true club player. That guy, it doesn't matter what you say to him, he will do it. Geez, I hope he can break through, because I really like the look of him. And I did hear that interview that he did with Warrior Holic, that he wants to play fullback. So I was like, oh God, who's going to play fullback? We've got too many players. So what are we going to do? But maybe now with
Chan's out
injured,
for a couple of weeks,
and Tuopiki getting the spot, and maybe he gets a good shot at fullback in Cup. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. Biggest thing for me to come out of the trial was the depth at the club and how Webby's got all those next generation stars dialed in with their performance and the expectations. Overall, Rob, what did you think of the trial result?
Yeah, I thought there was like plenty of positive signs. As always, the result is irrelevant, but the fact that we played most of that second half with like a New South Wales Cup team, and we pushed them, and we probably just lacked a tiny little bit of polish. Otherwise, we could have iced that game. But another guy that I enjoyed watching was that Geronimo Doyle.
Yes,
came on with the dreadlocks.
Yeah,
playing fullback, set up that nice try with that nice little kick for Sedu too.
Great kick.
Yep.
I like to look at that guy. Again, another fullback, but you think he could? I think he could fit in anywhere, but he looked right at home there as well. So yeah, with guys like that, like you touched on Ben Farr, like he tried so hard, and the other Luke Hansen, the other young half that came over from Penrith. I mean, those guys tried really hard. I mean, as I said before, they maybe lacked like a little bit of polish, but we hung in there. We scrambled well in defence with 12 men to deny the Tigers a couple of tries as well, and they had close to their strongest side playing. Not for the whole game, obviously, but they have the bye first round, so they needed to be playing their guys. So, I was actually really happy with everything that transpired, despite not getting the win, which, as we said, doesn't really matter anyway.
So Tony Tupanua looks a lot like his brother, doesn't he?
Yeah.
How funny was the commentators? They had no idea. They're like, gee, he looks like his brother. The other Tupanua that plays for the Roosters. I wonder if he's related to him.
Yeah, no idea.
Screaming down the television, going, "It's his brother."
He's a fair chance they're related. Yeah.
I know we want to talk about the merch, Rob. I know you're a big fan of the merch, but while we're talking on-field stuff, I just want to quickly touch on the Pathways program, where this year the Warriors have embarked on having teams in not only first grade and reserve grade and Jersey Flag, but we've got a Harold Matthews Cup and an SG Ball side this year, which requires the club to put a lot of time and money and investment into bringing the next generation of stars. It gives these players, these young 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids a genuine pathway at the club to play first grade footy. They don't have to go get snapped up by Australian sides and try to get contracts elsewhere. There is a genuine path for them. I know you've been out to watch a couple of these performances, Richie. I'll just quickly go over the results that we've had. Week 1, Harold Matthews Cup and SG Ball. They played Parramatta in heatwave conditions at Sydney. Our Matthews Cup side went down 34-6. SG Ball went down 32-20 after leading that game. Kind of just got away from in the end. Round 2, our Cup side, Harold Matthews Cup side, had a bye, and the SG Ball side destroyed my old North Sydney Bears 48-12. And then last week, round 3, both teams played the Roosters and were beaten Harold Matthews Cup 28-18 and 32-16 in SG Ball. Rich, I know you've been out watching these boys play. How good is it that we've got this pathway now in place for these young kids?
Man, so good. This is something that I've just been dreaming about was going to happen to our club for many years. I knew that this was a crucial part for us to really develop and be a powerhouse. So absolute massive thanks to our owner, man, putting his hand in his pocket to fund this. It's I don't think a lot of people really understand what goes in and how much money has to be spent. Hence why no one has done it before him. It's a lot of money to invest. But man, to have this group of next generation stars, just watching them, just seeing how excited they look and how they're just sponges. Like just listening to the coaches talking to them and the players, and just see Cappy getting involved out there at Parramatta for that first game, really just congratulating them, shaking their hands. We're only at the rock bottom. The foundation hasn't even been built yet. But
Correct.
Oh my goodness, it's the experience that these guys are getting. I was talking to the coach on the weekend, the SG Bulls. There's about 2 or 3 boys in the SG Ball side, in the Harold Matts side. They live in Christchurch. Boys, they only get to go and they do the 1 hour captain's run on a Friday. They fly out from school, they do the captain's run. That's their only training session with the team. Then they do the 2 hour flight to Sydney. And then on the weekend, they did a 2 hour. They jumped in the van and did a 2 hour drive to the Central Coast. Now, these guys are 16 or 17 years old, right? 15, 16 years old. The experience that they're getting from this, it's just you probably won't see the results on the scoreboard, but the diehards truly know it's not about that. It's way more to it. And but just hearing some of the stories, number 13 for the Harold Matts side, what a player. Lennox Tuiloma, man, the kid goes back to Christchurch, goes back to school, jumps on a plane, comes and does a captain's run, then comes out and plays against one of the leading development club sides, the Roosters, on the Central Coast. But I overheard a few of the boys saying, "Oh, we've got to have that 2 hour ride back to the airport, coach. It's just too bloody hot, eh?" No, they're all like, so what they're getting now is that real, man, compared to some of the other teams that just get to drive 15 minutes, mum picks them up, takes them down to training, they go and play, they're with each other. Man, the experience. So for us, we held our own. Like we've got the quality football, man. It really is. It's I'm very, very impressed. So kudos to the club, man. Congratulations. I'm absolutely excited and I can't wait to watch some of these next gen stars come through.
Absolutely. And kudos to Robbo, who's put his hand in his pocket to help make this a reality for the club. And it's not all of, as you said, Richie, it's not about the results on the field this year. This is just, the first of a foundation that's going to be built over the next couple of seasons. And we will see the results of this in our reserve grade and first grade squad in about 5 or 6 years down the track, where a lot of these names that we're only starting to learn now will become household names with Warriors supporters as these kids come through our systems.
Well, we've already seen
over
it.
The next few years.
We've seen it now. Leka Halasima, Tanner Stella-Smith, just to name a few. We watched them play against the Rabbitohs round 1 SG Ball last year at Redfern Oval.
Yep.
It's taken 12 months for those two. So, yeah, man, it's absolutely exciting. Can I just add one thing?
Yep.
If you're in Sydney, this weekend at Redfern Oval, we play the Bunnies, Harold Matts and SG Ball from 10 a.m. It's the last game to see these next gen of stars in Sydney. The rest of their games from round 5 through to round 9 are all played in New Zealand. So, guys, this is your last chance to see some of these superstars that we've been talking about. Just come and say hi. Come and support them. Come and know that you're a Warriors supporter. Come and say hi. 10 a.m. Redfern Oval is the Harold Matts game, and then the SG Ball straight after. Cheers.
Is that Saturday or Sunday, mate?
It's on Sunday the 25th. Sunday 25th, cool. 10 a.m. Redfern Oval.
All right.
Be there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll actually be able to get out to this one too this weekend.
Wicked.
I'll be in Sydney. So that'll be good, mate. Let's move into something that Rob has been itching to talk about. Merchandise. Mate, I'll hand over to you. Dynasty come on board this year. What are your thoughts on the range of merch that we have and how much merch is there available at the moment? It's absolutely ridiculous how much merch there is out there.
Yeah, mate, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that the greatest heritage jersey ever got released last week for pre-sale for members, and the general public sold out in what did someone say, 18 minutes?
18
something
minutes.
like that. But honestly, this, when they talk about heritage jerseys and we bring out stuff that represents New Zealand culture and that sort of thing, that's great. But to me, the heritage is the heritage of the club, the heritage of the Warriors. And we were a club that was born in 1995, played our first game in 1995. And to me, nothing says 1995 like this jersey. Now, hear me out. I know you're going to say the blue jersey because that's what we played our first game in, but we played all preseason in the Tooheys Challenge and everything wearing this white jersey. And hands down, this is, well, the original of this, and now this one is my favorite Warriors jersey of all time. I just love it. And the fact that Dynasty have brought it back with the collar. I mean, how good is it to see collars back on jerseys again? I mean, I know they don't like them because it's something else to grab onto and that sort of thing, but they have a heritage jersey with a collar. It's just so retro, and that's what I love about it. And Dynasty have absolutely nailed it this year. Everything that they've been coming up with has just been fire, fire. You know,
Absolutely.
They did those Canterbury warm-up tees.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, I missed out on one of those actually.
And what's the new one that they released today?
Yeah. So this week they released the players' warm-up tee. So the t-shirt that the guys wear with their name and number on the back. So you can buy those from Dynasty and from the Warriors store as well. So it's actually got the names of every single Warriors player to have represented the club all through it, which is awesome. They've done like the old school logo, like with the shield around it. The only thing that's missing is the curved tongue, but I know that they stopped doing the curved tongue because they found out, I think it was a Graham Lowe or someone in the Tainui era or whatever said that it was bad luck to have the tongue curved in that particular direction, so they got rid of that. It was kind of cool to see that back, but it is what it is. And so that the warm-up tee, it looks fantastic, and the long sleeve jersey that they brought out as well. That's a real throwback to the Uglies. Remember the Canterbury Uglies? Yeah, from back in '95. As I was saying to you, Mark, like I still have the image of Phil Blake modelling that back in the day with the DB bitter down the side. But obviously
the speed dealer
Sunnies. Yeah. I instantly throws me back to like in rugby league week or the catalogs or whatever that you'd get. You'd have like Phil Blake and Gene Namu wearing the all the off-field gear. Brandy Alexander getting around in one of those singlets as well with all the DB bitter stuff.
Let's be honest, mate. The reason that we love this jersey, just a throwaway, I actually had the 95 home jersey and the 95 away jersey in 95, and it was so long, I got no idea whatever happened to those. It was back in the days where we didn't collect jerseys and want memorabilia, the merchandise and stuff like that. But Rob, be honest, mate, the reason that you love this this jersey, this heritage jersey, is that it was worn by the great Mike Doreen twice in his career, correct?
That's it. So funny, interesting fact. I don't know if it's funny for us, but the Warriors actually only wore this away jersey in 3 official premiership games. So against your old mob, the North Sydney Bears, against Newcastle Knights, and in the final round against the Broncos at ANZ Stadium, a game that I was at back in '95. We got pumped by 40 in all 3 of those games.
Yeah.
The great Mike Doreen played 4 games for the Warriors, and 2 of his 4 games was in this jersey. So he played half his Warriors career in this jersey.
Yeah.
So a completely useless throwaway fact for all you guys. But I think based on that, we should wear this against the Tigers for the Mike Doreen Cup. Sure.
Oh.
And
what round is Heritage round this year?
It's round 17 against the Broncos. So that's the thing. We got to wait until July, sometime in July, I think. Yeah, we'll be wearing it against the Broncos over at Mount Smart, which will be awesome.
They sold that many. Everyone's going to be wearing the whole jersey. The whole stadion's going to be a whiteout.
It'll be. I was just going to say whiteout. Yeah. We should have number 25 stitched under there in memory of the Michael Doreen,
the great man.
Yeah.
The great man.
Yeah.
Can you share the information you told me off air about heritage jerseys?
Yeah. So Charlie Russ, who everyone would know is the man in terms of when it comes to collecting jerseys, he has the best collection of jerseys you will ever see. Pretty much all match worn, and or Mount Wellington, as you may know him as on the forums and all that sort of thing. But mate, there's nothing that guy doesn't know about jerseys. Him and the NZ jersey hunter as well. Shout out to you, mate. But yeah, Charlie was saying that he had heard that the heritage jerseys are now on a 3-year cycle, like with the rest of the playing kit, so they can't change it for 3 years. So that's an interesting one. So we may have this as our heritage strip for the next 3 years, which is interesting. But hey, who's complaining when it looks this good? And yeah, you'd think that the only thing that would change is possibly if they ever change a sponsor. Like on the sleeves or the back or something like that. So One NZ obviously aren't going anywhere because they graciously gave up their front of jersey prime real estate to have like how good is it to have like the what do I say, the DB Bitter font on the NZ Warriors? But
what club does that, right? I mean,
exactly.
This is truly for the fans. This jersey, it really is.
Yep.
Like, what club takes the sponsor off the chest?
Yeah.
Like, it's just that's why I ran and did cartwheels to get this jersey because I don't know if you boys know I don't really buy that many jerseys of late purely for sizing. They sucked.
The Puma sizing was garbage.
They were just same, right? And now jerseys have been a little bit same of late.
Yeah.
Some of my best jerseys are the Wellington jersey, the Auckland V-neck, the red 2008 Heritage ARL. But mate, this one here, mate, you had me at hello, Rob, with your little speech, mate. I was nearly actually about to tear up. I got quite emotional. I love this jersey, man. It's so good.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like I don't know why, but I've just always loved the white. Like it was the inverse of the home jersey, which was blue. Yep. I don't know. I've always just loved the white one. Obviously, like we don't have very good memories of us playing in it, but yeah, like we wore this in like I think when we played in the sevens before the season, and when we played in the 2 Weeks Challenge or whatever the preseason cup used to be called. Yeah, so
what do you think of still on merchandise? What do you think of the away jersey for this year that they've brought out? And for me, very Newcastle Knights. It just reminds me of the Knights. And even when I saw it up close and personal, I was telling myself that I was going to buy it. And then when I saw it, I'm like, no, I'm going to save my money and buy something else. And it just reminded me of the Knights. What are your thoughts on it, boys?
It's just not Warriors. Like it just doesn't stand out as a Warriors jersey. Mate, just wear this is the away jersey.
Very, very generic. And now that we've got this,
it's
worse. It looks worse now. I'm sorry, no offense. Now that you've got this, that other one's like app.
I mean, it's very much like you said, it's got that Newcastle sort of flavor to it because you can see the blue and the red, but the green is sort of a bit more accented on it, so it doesn't stand out as much. So it just looks blue, red, and white, like Newcastle. Hey, I'll tell you what, if we roll Melbourne in round 2 wearing it, then I'll probably go out and buy one. Hey?
I think we all will.
I'm a bit like that, unfortunately. But yeah, no, I'm usually not a massive fan of having a completely different away jersey to a home one. Like I like it to be like 95, like just the inverse or the reverse of the home and away jerseys. And even like last year, we had a very simple design, but the away was just basically a white version of the
home,
the home jersey. So each their own. Like I know some people do like it, and that's cool.
Even that Canterbury. Did you boys see that Canterbury training shirt?
How good does that look? I loved it.
That looked awesome, man. I wanted one so bad. I just unfortunately had Canterbury on the back.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna upset some people because I mean I'm from Auckland, but I love that black and the red. I was so close to buying one, but I'm glad I didn't because as soon as those blue and green warm-up tees came out, I've jumped on. Hopefully, it's getting delivered tomorrow.
Yeah.
Those warm-up tees are good, and it's got my name on it. Those warm-up tees, so I'll be getting one of them.
Yes.
Warrior 31, Mark Carter.
So good. Yeah.
Different Mark Carter, but who cares? While I've got you boys, just some general discussion. The All-Stars was played last week on Friday. The Indigenous women beat the Māori 26-4, the Indigenous men 22 over the Māori 14. Is that game starting to lose its luster We do have players that pull out. I know the Roosters wanted to pull all their players from it this year, and the NRL said no. I remember the original All Stars concept kind of had a bit of a wane before they brought the Māori into it. I'm a proud Māori, but I don't know. Is it getting to the point now where we've got to change it up a little bit? Maybe it becomes the Indigenous versus and a Pacific Islands, where it incorporates Māori, Tongan, Samoan, Fijian players all coming together to play as one to generate a little bit more interest. I don't know. I just feel that it's not as interesting now to the fans as it was a couple of years ago. Your thoughts? Am I off base here, or am I close to how you guys are thinking?
No, spot on. You're spot on, Roo.
Yeah, it's sort of gotten a bit stale, I think, as well. Like you mentioned, like the previous concept has. Yeah, it's probably worth a try, having like a Pacific Island All-Stars team.
Well, for a guy like yourself, Rob, that's neither Indigenous nor Māori, do you get behind the concept? Do you get excited about the concept, or is it just another one of those games that's being played and you don't really care? And if there's some Warriors players in there, you've got a little bit of interest and just hoping they don't get injured.
Yeah, look, I think you pretty much nailed it there. Like with all due respect, like it's another game of footy for me to watch, and I always like it because it tends to be one of the first games of footy for the year. I definitely enjoy all the cultural festivities on both sides. I enjoy and appreciate that from the Indigenous side and from the Māori side. I love all that stuff. I love the passion that comes out in the players. But yeah, you're right. Like I'm very neutral when I watch it, and I'm just. Yeah, like you said, the Warriors boys are there. I hope they play well, but don't get injured. Yeah, that's the big one.
Yeah, it's kind of how it feels for me too. And as I said, I'm Māori, proud Māori, but it's kind of just starting to. And I think the reason it's starting to lose a little bit of its luster is because we're not getting the best Māori players playing in that team anymore.
It's getting diluted every time. Every game, every year, every event, start with the nines. Whatever the event is, it just starts well and then just gets diluted year after year, and everyone's making excuses. And I know this year they've got the Vegas and there's time constraints, so they had to pull certain players. But I love the Indigenous Māori concept, and I was just watching that game going, oh, geez, how good would it be if they had the best of the Indigenous and the best of the Māori playing? But maybe, mate, you're right. Maybe the Māori Pacific nations versus Indigenous, because I don't know what the number is, but someone could hopefully jump on the stream and let us know what is the percentage of Indigenous and Māori or Pacific Island cultures playing in the NRL. It's up there. Yeah. So I think the concept is absolutely needed from a selfish point of view. I'd love to see but I want to see the best Māori play the best Indigenous.
That's it. Me too. Yeah, me too. Which brings me to the preseason challenge. Paul Gallen came out this week and said that trial games are a waste of time now, that they do enough contact stuff at training. They don't need to really do trial games. And, you're watching trial games as, 35 guys running around playing footy, and we don't know who, 20 of them are. It gives a lot of fringe first graders that opportunity to showcase their talents, I guess. And then it's good to see guys like Ryan Pappenhausen, who's able to come back from injury and get some minutes under his belt. But I don't know. Again, like this week, you look at the Roosters Rabbits trial game and the Broncos Sea Eagles trial game that's happening this weekend, and they're players that no one's ever heard of because their squads are over in Vegas ready for round one. So why even play those two games? It's. I don't know. I love footy and I love watching footy, and it's great that footy's back, but you want the product to be good too, don't you?
It's hard to get invested. It's hard to get invested when you're watching these trial games. It's literally just a trial. They take all the main players off. They put the young guys on, which is great, and you get to see it. But it takes a lot away from it. Like even watching the Warriors game, it's like, result doesn't really matter. So you're just purely watching it out of interest of the specific team that you follow, really.
Speaking of that, you mentioned it, and I just wanted to jump on. You said, the result didn't matter, which it didn't. Tell those Christchurch fans, man, sold out. They were just hanging for Warriors football, man. Oh, how good was that? Like, for a trial game to sell out?
It's fever pitch, hey? Like,
love
it's
for
just
rugby league down there, it's
completely
real.
carried on from last year. Yeah, exactly.
I know
So
we're
does
off
that open the conversation for
Second
that
team?
second New Zealand team? Yeah,
bro, 100% Christchurch has to
Yep.
be.
Christchurch.
Did I
Okay.
see an idiot run on the pitch again
Oh,
in a New Zealand game away
at
from
a key time? At a key time, though,
Seriously.
we were hot on
Yeah,
the
it was
attack.
at a key time too. We were on the attack.
Yep.
We had all the momentum at that point.
Wasn't your mate Waddy Homewood? Was it?
Nah, I think Waddy's still here in Australia, mate.
They won't let him back into New Zealand after all
Yeah,
that.
nah. I think he's still wandering around at where was it? It was against the Tigers. It was in that game, the semi-final in 2011 against the
That's
Tigers.
right. That was brilliant.
That was his debut, and they did it
Yeah.
in Origin.
Then he did it in Origin, where people said it was Gordon Tallis. That was funny shit. Richie, you mentioned it before, round one in Vegas. What are your thoughts on that whole round one going over to Vegas? It's a split round of footy now. And of course, surprise, surprise, the Roosters and the Rabbits are the two of the teams that go over there. They signed a 5-year agreement, I believe. I heard them say we're going to be going to Vegas for round one over the next 5 years. Every team will get a chance to do it. What's your thoughts on it? And when it's the Warriors' turn to go to Vegas, are we all jumping on a plane and heading to Vegas for round one, boys?
Yeah, we're getting in the red shark.
Absolutely.
We're going to do Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas style.
Absolutely, we are going. I love it. I love the Vegas concept. I think it's awesome. I love my American sports, my NBA, ice hockey,
me
NFL.
too.
So it's just that vibe of Vegas, baby. It's Sin City. And I can't wait for when the Warriors get to play that. If we get to play that, hopefully I've already told everyone we're playing there next year, and I'm planning my trip to the NBA All Stars game, and then obviously on the double header. But man, it's I can't wait. When it's on, we are 100% going, boys. Start putting away $5 a week now. Start saving. And
Absolutely.
No more jerseys, that means. Come on.
$5 a week. Hopefully we'll play there in 3 years' time, and then we may have enough money.
Yeah.
Here's a good question from Sean Whiskey, and it kind of sends away to the fact that Stacey Jones today was announced as the new Kiwis coach. So congratulations to Stacey, the New Zealand Rugby League choosing to go with some homegrown talent over the great Wayne Bennett. Sean Whiskey has asked, would you rather have a mid-season test or more tests at the end of the season than have the pre-season trials? For me, it's test match footy at the end of the season, 100%. Rich?
Couldn't agree more, man. Look, the competition, this just opens up a way bigger conversation for another time. The competition with the 17 teams and the buys, it's a mess. Pre-season challenge, this and that. Until we get 20 teams, we play each other twice, then you've got the time in the season, pre-season, mid and end, to actually have standalone periods for representative footy and so on. Until we get even teams and we get to, and ideally I'd love to see 20 teams. We play each other twice, home and away, even. The competition is never going to be even until we have even amount of teams.
Correct.
And so I want test matches. I love watching. I mean, how good was that test match at the end of last year when the Kiwis smashed the Aussies?
It's always good when we win. It's always good when we win. Sean Whiskey says, me and my wife wish we had waited so we could have eloped in our Wars jerseys when they played in Vegas. Mate, you can just renew your vows. Do it anyway. Renew your vows.
That's it.
Robbie, one for you. Robbie Daly says the All-Stars game is better than the NBA All-Stars. Was there some controversy about the NBA All-Stars this week?
Oh, it was just a garbage game. It was.
Was it?
What was the score?
Has been
200.
for years.
Yeah, no one takes it seriously. It's what was it, like 205 to 180 something?
Yeah.
Or 215. Yeah. It's like no one cares. No one plays defense. It's just I saw some foot. I didn't actually watch the game because I never really do. But everyone's just mucking around, just throwing up lobs for alley oops, and I mean it's kind of like the acknowledgement of being selected for the All Stars game is like the real big deal.
Yeah,
The game itself doesn't really matter. Like even the dunk comp and all that sort of thing, 3-point contest and everything is it's a little bit meh now. So it's just gone really flat. And I'm like you, Rich. I'm a massive NBA fan. Go Heat, but I just can't get excited about the All Stars. Even though we had Bam playing there, but he did bugger all. Hit 1 3, and that was it. So,
one for you, Richie. Nigel Phillips says, "Thank you, Richie, for bringing Warrior Nation Aussie wide. He'll be repping Melbourne Warrior Nation with the bro Booger Cassidy. Bring on round 2. Much love. Let's go." Question for you, Rich. What have we got planned for meetups in the opening couple of rounds, Warrior Nation? I know Richie said that we've got Redfern Oval this weekend to go out and watch the Pathways boys in the Harold Matson SG Ball. Have you got anything booked in Sydney or Brisbane for round 1?
For round 1, no. And that was a decision that was made simply because it's Friday night. And been doing this long enough to know that Friday nights don't work for Warriors fans.
5 o'clock up here, kickoff. It's a killer.
It just doesn't work. Like you get a handful of people there. But this year we're going to sort of really pick the right games to get meetups with. So we're going to be doing round 2 versus Melbourne and Sydney. We've also got round 2 in Melbourne with Booger that Nigel touched on, and also the Brisbane crew with Lisa and Josh. They're putting the meetup at the Lord Alfred. So the first meetups will be in Brisbane, Sydney, and Melbourne. Lord Alfred, Brisbane, the Hudson Hotel in Sydney, and Pink Lemonade is the bar in Melbourne for round 2. And for any other meetups, just jump on. Send me a personal message if you're coming over from New Zealand or from interstate or in Sydney. Send me a message, but you just simply click on events on Warrior Nation page or the Warrior Nation Supporters Movement Facebook group, and you'll see all the information there. But just more so, just send me a personal message and just give me a shout out and say hello, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, if you're living under a rock, you've got to join the Warrior Nation page. That's where all the events and meetups and everything's advertised. Richie always on there letting all the fans know where to be, where to get together to watch the games. Round 1, I'm going to be in Queensland. I'll be on the Gold Coast, meeting up with Rob. We're going to watch that game together from the Gold Coast somewhere. Probably do a live feed at some point. So, looking forward to that. That's in a couple of weeks. But, Rich, I just want to thank you for jumping on tonight, mate. We're gonna wrap this one up. Always good to see you. It's great that you're still flying that flag for Warrior Nation, brother. We all got a little bit worried when we saw that message a month or so back, thinking,
sorry, boys.
Fuck, what's going to happen now? But, and as we said in private messages to you, there was a few people that sent you private messages. We do understand that it is overwhelming. It's quite a massive undertaking. There is something like 10,000 members of Warrior Nation here in Australia. And, you do get inundated with messages and trying to organise events and stuff like that. And guys like Rob and I are quite happy to work in the background with you and to help you in any way that we can, as we have in the past couple of seasons. But it's great that you're still there, mate. We're really fortunate, and we love the work that you do for the Warrior Nation, bro.
Oh, boys, thank you so much, man. I appreciate your kind words. Love you guys, and thanks so much for having me on.
No worries, brother.
Up the wires.
Up the wires.
Go, mate. Yeah. Just next week, we have a very special episode of Ruin Hammer on Wednesday, the 28th of Feb. We'll be joined by those two lunatics from across the ditch, Brad and Richie from the Standoff, to do our prediction show, 24 predictions for 2024. Be a lot of fun. I said last week, Brad only gets 23 because his Dragons to win the Wooden Spoon prediction is just a given. And just a massive shout out to Richie Sterling too. It is his 40th birthday today. So happy birthday, mate. We hope you had a wonderful day. Look forward to catching up with you next week. For those that do watch the Standoff, they will return next week. And I think it's 6 o'clock my time in Sydney, which makes 8 o'clock New Zealand time and 5 o'clock Queensland time. So you can catch those boys next Wednesday and then roll into us straight after them. But yeah, and we'll also be uploading some pre-recorded content in a couple of weeks on vlogs that we do throughout the season. So stay tuned to our Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram platforms for all those special presentations we put out.
Yeah, before we wrap it up for the night, again, I just want to acknowledge and thank our wonderful Patreon supporters for your continued support. And I want to give a special shout out to our gold tier Patreons. That's Alf Tuolave, Malcolm Earnshaw, Chris Wellington, Nigel Phillips, Lisa Marie Bateman, and Sean Whiskey. It's good to have you on, Sean. Yeah, if you want to show your appreciation and support, you can head to our Patreon page. The link is there on the screen below. And subscribe to our bronze tier general support level or our silver and gold tier. That includes some of our supporter merchandise as well and some other benefits, bit of behind the scenes look at what we do as well. And also, as always, you can head to Redbubble to our store and check out some of the designs there. Get yourself some T-shirts honouring past and present players and memorable moments in Warriors history. Jump on there now. I think they got 25% off store-wide. So if you want to grab yourself a Ruin Hammer T-shirt, get a bit of merch, we greatly appreciate that as well.
Absolutely. On that note, thank you all for your continued support of Ruin Hammer. It's much appreciated. We enjoy putting this product out for you each and every Wednesday night, and we'll see you next Wednesday with Brad and Richie for our prediction show. Thanks, guys. Up the Waz.
Thanks, guys. Up the Waz.